Hello everyone, good to see you again. I call myself Mr. U.S. Patil, working as Assistant Professor at Sharad Institute of Technology, College of Engineering at Rao Ichalkaji, which is at Kolhapur district, Maharashtra. Today, in this video, we'll see the end effectors of robots. So let's get started with the end effectors. So first here, can robot perform its work or task without end effectors? That is what a question comes. Now, if you see the end effectors, what exactly it is, in the terminology of robotics, an end effectors can be defined as a device which is attached to the robot's wrist to perform the specific task. The task might be work part handling, spot welding, spray painting, or any of the great variety of other functions. The possibilities are limited only by the imagination and ingenuity of the applications engineers who design robot systems. If you see, economic consideration might also impose a few limitations here. Here, the end effectors is the special purpose tooling which enables the robot to perform a particular job. It is usually custom engineered for that job, either by company that owns the robot or by the company that sold the robot. Most robot manufacturers have engineering groups which design and fabricate end effectors or provide advice to their customers on end effector designs. For purpose of organization, we will divide the various types of end effectors into two categories that we called grippers and tools. We'll see what exactly these are. Here, a robotic end effector is any object attached to the robot flange, that I told you, that wrist, that serves the functions. In robotics, an end effector is the device at the end of the robotic arm designed to interact with the environment, and a device that attaches to the wrist of the robot arm and enables the general purpose robot to perform a specific task. And robot end effectors, also known as robotic peripherals, robotic accessories, robotic tools, or robotic tools, end of arm tooling, EOA, tooltips, or end of arm devices, right? As we see here, a classification of end effectors, the impactive jaws or claws which physical grasp by direct impact upon the object. Aggressive, that is pins, needles, or hackles which physically penetrate the surface of the object, used in textile, carbon, and glass fiber handling. That is obstructive, is the suction force, including the magnets, applied to the object surface, and the contiguity, that requiring direct contact of the adhesion to take place, such as glue, surface tensions, or freezing. This is what classification will what exactly how it would be, we'll see here. So now here basic types, that is grippers and tools, as I just before mentioned. The grippers to grasp and manipulate objects, that is parts object means parts during the work cycle, and tools to perform a process, that example spot welding or spray painting, etc. Here tool and tools as end effectors. A tool is equipped in the robot for carrying out several operations on the work parts instead of grasping it. A tool acts as an end effector when it is attached directly to the robot's wrist. In some applications, there will be a need for multi-tool tasks, and changing the tool all the time from the robot wrist will be highly difficult. Yes. As a result, the grippers is used in this process to grasp and manipulate the tool. It It certainly helps the robot to handle several tools in an operation, and thus makes the multi-tooling functions possible. However, the time taken to change the tool is a very low here. In robot applications, the most commonly used three tools as end effectors are as spot welding tools, spray painting nozzle, arc welding torch. Yes. Now, if you see unilateral and multilateral grips, the unilateral only one point or surface is touching the object to be handled. For example, vacuum pad gripper and electromagnetic gripper. If you see in a multilateral gripper, there are more than two parts or surface touching the components to be handled. This is what we are given shown here. If you see grippers, the grippers are the end effector used for handling the parts or objects. The grippers are devices which can be used for holding or gripping an object, and they include what you might call mechanical hands, and also anything like hooks, magnets and suction devices which can be used for holding or gripping. And the grippers takes advantages of point to point contact, that is exact path that the robot takes between what it is picking up and where it is placing it. The gripper should be designed so that it requires the minimum amount of maneuvering in order to grip the workplace. If you see application of grippers, machine loading and unloading, picking and placing of parts on the conveyors, material handling, bottle handling, arranging parts onto pallet, etc. These are some applications of grippers. Now, what are the types of grippers? So here some types of grippers, that is mechanical gripper, hooks and scoops, vacuum grippers, expandable bladder type grippers, adhesive grippers. Yes. So here in mechanical grippers, we can think of mechanical gripper as the robot hand. A basic robot hand will have only 2 or 3 fingers. A mechanical hand that wraps around an object will rely on friction in order to secure the object it is holding. The friction between the gripper and the object will be depend on the two things. First is the type of surface, whether it is metal or metal on metal, or rubber on metal, or smooth surface or rough surfaces, and the second is the force which is pressing the surface together. This is very important parameter. And mechanical grippers are often fitted with some type of pad, usually made from polyurethane, as this provides greater friction, right? And pads are less likely to be damage the part workpiece. And pads are also used so to have a better grip, as the polyurethane will make contact with all parts of the surface when the gripper is closed, right? The mechanical gripper can be designed and made for specific purpose and adjusted according to the size of the object. They can also have dual gripper. They can have also dual gripper. We are all familiar with the saying, two hands are better than one, and robot benefits from having dual gripper as they can increase productivity. We used with machines that have two workstations, where one robot can load two parts in the single operation. The operations in which the size of the objects or part change due to the machining processes, and where the cycle time of the robot is too slow to keep up with the production of the other machines. This is what the mechanical gripper figure, right? Holding a part by mechanical gripper, that is using the gripper pad as like the shape of the work part. Here the contact surface of the figure or fingers are designed according to the work part for achieving the estimated shape. It will help the fingers to hold the work part for the some extent. And second is using soft material finger pads. In second method, the fingers must be capable of supplying sufficient force to hold the work part. To avoid scratches on the work part, soft type pads are fabricated on the fingers. As result, what will happen? The contact surface of the finger and coefficient of friction are improved. This method is very simple and as well as less expensive. It may cause slippage if the force applied against the work part is in the parallel direction. The slippage can be avoided by designing the gripper based on the force exerted, and this is very important. And now there are hooks and scoops. Hooks and scoops are the simplest type of end effectors that can be classed as grippers. The scoopers or ladle is commonly used to scoop up molten metal and transfer it to the mold. The hook may be all that is needed to lift the part, especially if precise positioning in 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 not required is not required, and if it is only to be dipped into a liquid. The hook are used to load and unload parts hanging from the overhead conveyors. The parts to be handled by the hooks must have some sort of handles, eye bolt or ring, to enable the hook to hold it. The scoops are used for handling the materials in liquid or powder form, right? The limitations of scoop is it is difficult to control the amount of the material being handled by the scoop. In addition, spilling of the material during handling is another very dangerous problem, right? This is what the hooks and scoops, right? Here another is that magnetic grippers. In magnetic grippers, obviously only work on magnetic objects and therefore are limiting in working with a certain metals only. For maximum effect, the magnet needs to have complete contact with the surface of the metal to be gripped. Any air gaps will reduce the strength of the magnetic force. Therefore, flat sheets of metal are best suitable to the magnetic grippers. If the magnet is strong enough, a magnet gripper can pick up an irregular shaped object. In some cases, the shape of the magnet matches the shape of the object as well. That would be very convenient or perfect one. As disadvantage of using magnetic gripper is the temperature. That permanent magnets tend to become demagnetized when heated, as so there is the danger that prolonged contact with a hot workpiece will weaken them to the point where they can no longer be used. The effect of the heat will depend on the time the magnet spend in the contact with the hot part. The most magnetic materials are relatively unaffected by temperature up to around 100 degrees. This is what a magnetic gripper. Here electromagnetic can be used instead and are operated by direct DC, direct electric current, and lose nearly all their magnetism when the power is turned off. The permanent magnetic are also used in situations where there is an explosive atmosphere and sparks from electric equipment would cause a hazard as well. Very dangerous. Another gripper is that is suction grippers. There are two types of suction grippers. Here we can say devices operated by vacuum. The vacuum may be provided by a vacuum pump or by compressed air. And the second is devised with a flexible suction cup. This cup presses on the workpiece. Compressed air is blown into the suction cup to release the workpiece. And the advantage of the suction cup is that if there is a power failure, it will be still work, as the workpiece will not fall down. And the disadvantage is the suction cup is that they only work on clean smooth surfaces only. There are many more disadvantages. There are many more advantages for using suction cup rather than the mechanical grip, including there is no danger of crushing fragile objects. The exact shape of size does not matter, and the suction cup does not have to be precisely positioned on the object. And the downfall of the suction cups as an end effector includes the robot system must include a form of pump for air, and the level of noise can cause annoyance in some circumstances, right? This is what a suction gripper. This is what suction grippers. Now this is what expandable bladder type grippers. A bladder gripper or bladder hand is the specialized robotic end effector that can be used to grasp, pick up, and move rod shaped or cylindrical objects, right? And the main effect of the gripper is an inflatable donut shaped or cylindrical sleeve that resemble the cuff commonly used in blood pressure measuring apparatus. The sleeve is positioned so it surrounds the object to be gripped, and then the sleeve is inflated until it is tight enough to accomplish the desired task. And the pressure exerted by the sleeve can be measured and regulated using force sensors. And the bladder grippers are useful in handling fragile object. However, they do not operate fast and they can function only with objects within a rather narrow range of physical sizes, right? This is what expandable blade type gripper. This is what expandable kind of blade grippers. This is what adhesive grippers. So this is one type of, again, adhesive substances or adhesive grippers. Here adhesive substances can be used for grasping action in adhesive grippers. In adhesive grippers, the adhesive substances loses its thickness due to the repeated usage. This reduces the reliability of the gripper. In order to overcome this difficulty, the adhesive material is continuously fed to the gripper in the form of ribbon by feeding mechanism. The major assets of the adhesive gripper is that fact that it is simple. As long as the adhesive keep its stickiness, it will continue to function without maintenance. However, there are certain limitations. The most significant is the fact that the adhesive cannot readily be disabled in order to release the grasp on the object. Some other means, such as devices that lock the gripped object into place, must be used. And the adhesive grippers are used for handling fabrics and other lightweight materials only. Okay. And these are the figure of adhesive grippers. So this is what about we have discussed about grippers, and these are the tools, that is end effectors. So next video we'll see about next part in the robots. Thank you one and all.